So I'd like to introduce some of the very basics, basic tasks, basic tools that an instructor has at their fingertips in Moodle 2. So here I am in an empty course shell. You can see that it's not very exciting course name. It's a practice course. It has 3 topical areas and a news forum. Moodle always includes a news forum at the very top of the course. You use that to communicate with your learners and participants. Everybody who is a user in the course is automatically subscribed to that forum, so it's a good way to communicate with your participants and learners. There's not much we can do unless we go over here and we turn editing on. Because we want to start creating the course, building it out, we need to turn the editing tools on, and then you can see that each topical area has 2 drop-down boxes. And Moodle classifies things by either resources or activities. So if we take a look at resources, you can see there's file, folder, content package label, page, tab display, and URL. Really the only ones that you will need to get up and running and off the ground with your first course is the file, the label, the page, and the URL. If you can work with those 4 elements, those 4 resource types in Moodle, you can successfully create a very engaging online course from the resource end. Now you'll want to also add some activities to engage your learners and your users. So resources are content, activities are actual interactive things that your learners will participate in. So if we take a look at the activity drop-down, you can see there are assignments, and there are some different options underneath assignments. Certificates, chats, choice, so on and so forth. It's a fairly extensive list of activities and tools that Moodle provides to build those activities. But really, if you are getting started and you want to get up and running quickly, I would say the 3 activities you need to know how to work with are the forum, the quizzes, and assignments. So if you can do file, label, page, URL, and resources, and forum, quizzes, and assignments in activities, that gives you the foundational skill set to begin building that first course. And as you develop more technical facility with the tools here, you can dig more deeply into some of the other activities and resource types that Moodle gives you access to. Now, let's take a look at the basics of adding a simple resource. We're going to add a file. And this is a file upload process. And of course we have to give the file a name. And we'll just call it this file. And some sort of description. And then we need to add some content to it. So I'm going to click Add. And you can see a file picker has opened up here. And I can either look to recent files that have been used. I can upload a file, which is when you're first starting out what you're going to be doing most of the time. I have a private files area right now that isn't populated, and there are server files. But right now let's take a look at the process of uploading. There's a browse button. We click that. And you can see that it takes me to some documents that I was looking at here, and we're just going to pick one, and you double click on it to select it. It shows up in the attachment box here, and we click upload the file, and you can see that it's been uploaded. Now that's enough to get the file into the system. There are some other options you have here as far as how it's displayed and whether or not you restrict access and things like that, but we're not going to go into that today. Right now we're just going to go and save and return to the course. And now you can see that there is a file in the first topic, and it's called this file, which is the name we gave it. Now the topic has only the number 1, and we might want to be a little more expansive in our description of what this topic is. So if I click the edit icon, I uncheck use default section name, and I give it a new section name. And I don't have to put a summary in for the topic. I can just click Save Changes. And you can now see that our first topic is called Getting Started with Activities. And again, we could go to topic 2. We click the little hand holding a pen to edit the summary. And we could call this one, uncheck the default, call this one resources, getting started with resources, and we're going to save those changes. And here we go, we have a topic 1 called getting started with activities, topic 2 called getting started with resources, and I might want to move those around, so I'm going to hover over and take the move option, and I'm going to slide this up here. And now you can see that we've got getting started with resources and getting started with activities, which matches the presentation within Moodle, which just makes a little more sense to me. Another resource type that we might want to look at creating are pages, and we're going to click on the page here. And again, similar process here. We give a name and a description. And then down here is the actual page content. And you'll notice that there's an embedded HTML, an embedded editor on this page. And you can create text here. You can actually copy and paste text. You can add links, the whole 9 yards. I'm just going to grab some text from something. Here we go. We just need a hunk of text. So I'm going to copy some text from this web page and drop it in the box here. So here's our text, and now we can do things like highlight a chunk of text and create a link. And let's suppose we wanted our users to be able to go to Google by clicking on that link. And again, it's paying attention. It tells me it looks like that's an offsite resource, so I need to put the HTTP in front of it, and it handles that for me. So we've created a link in there. We can also add a picture. So I want to insert or edit a picture. And I don't have any uploaded already, so we're going to find some. And again, the file picker opens up, same file picker we had for selecting the PDF that we took before. We're going to browse to some pictures. And we're going to find one here. And I don't know why I'm paying any attention to this, because it doesn't really matter. We're just going to grab a picture and upload the file. And you can see in the preview window here that this is rather large. So I'm going to go to the Appearance tab, and I'm going to knock the size down here. And I just want this to be fairly small. So I select the first dimension, and if I have constrained proportions on it, it will automatically reduce it so that it is proportional reduction. I can set some space around the picture and the text that it's near. So we can do that, and I could give it a border if I wanted to, but I don't. So let's insert it. And it tells me I don't have an image description. And again, this is an accessibility warning, so if people are using screen readers and things like that, without an image description, they won't be able to see, they won't have an idea of what the image is. For now, we're just going to click OK. There is our picture. There's our text. And if I right-click on the picture, you can see there are some things I can do here. I can put links on it. I can edit it from here. And again, we can go back to the appearance. We can go back to the advanced things, and if we wanted to give it a title and things like that, we could. But we want to give it an image description. And I think that's what the image was, so we save. And there we go. I'm going to shift the alignment to left, which will move the text more in line with the image. But essentially, the page editor is a reasonably full-fledged web page creation tool. And we can go down here, and again, we're going to skip over the options for now. We'll save it and display it. And so this is what we've built. It's fairly straightforward to create resource pages or any kind of web type pages within Moodle. And that's the very quick overview of the process. So we'll go back home. And you can see here's our page, and we're going to turn editing off. And this gives us some idea of what it looks like for our learners so far. So we have a page, we have a file. Now in subsequent screencasts we'll go into more detail on adding forums and quizzes and assignments. The other thing we need to talk about is, well, the other two things we need to talk about as far as resources are concerned are URLs and labels. So let's take a look at adding a label. And a label just allows you to group your content within a topic more clearly and give it some definition. So let's suppose we wanted to have a label that said web pages. I can go in here and noodle around with the font a bit. I want to make it a little larger. There we go. And I want to give it a color because I'm feeling kind of colorful today. And we're going to save that and return to our course. And now we have a label. Now you can see our label is beneath the actual web page that we created, so we want to move that. And again, we're going to hover over the move, and we're going to take that and drop it right there. Now if I were being really organized about this, I would then choose to indent the resources so that when we turn editing off, you can see here's the label and here are indented resources. And the final resource that we should really talk about is adding a URL, so let's take a look at that quickly. And here we go, add a resource URL. And the name, and we're just going to put Google in here. And the external URL is going to be google.com. And then we go save and return to course. And there is our link to Google. Now, because that's not a web page, I might make another label in here that would segregate that content. So if we toss in another label, and we're going to call this one web links. And again, we're going to try to remember what font size I picked, and we're going to give it a consistent, as close to a consistent color as I can. We're going to save it and return to our course. And I was close, but not quite exact with the color. And again, now we have to move that up here to segregate those. And again, we'll do the indent for the actual resource itself. We turn editing off. And we take a look, and there we have two resources that we've put in here. We have a file here, and we have some labels. So those are the four resource types we can begin working with. And for this screencast, since we've gone well over the 10-minute mark, I want to end, and then we'll pick another screencast up and start talking about the activities.